I almost lost my sight in 2014. So this is the story of how I almost lost my sight in my left eye in 2014. So it's a very traumatic story that I didn't really tell anybody except the people closest to me, like my family and my closest friends. And even I don't tell people that. But I feel like I'm not thankful to God enough because I was this close to losing like about 95% of my sight on my left eye, or almost losing it completely, and losing my sight on both eyes. Basically, first off, I have glaucoma on my left eye, and if you don't know what glaucoma is, it's a pressure problem within the eyes. It means that usually it's in old people, and it means that you don't get rid of fluid fast enough in your eyes, so the pressure in the eyes rises. And there are many ways to treat it. Sorry, my cat is making a lot of noise. There are many ways to treat it. You can treat it with drops, you can treat it with small surgery. Some people, they get corneal transplants, and the way that he found that I was getting treated was through drops. And so I put drops in daily, even till these days, and I'm never stopping the drops in my life. I'm gonna always put drops. So for a year, I stopped putting my drops regularly, and I stopped going to the doctors like I was supposed to, the ophthalmologist. And so basically the pressure in my eyes kept rising and rising and rising and rising and rising, to the point that when I went to see him, it was about 120, which is way too high for the eyes. As a result of that, my eyes became really, really, really damaged. And basically my I don't know if it's my cornea or my iris, was decompensating. And when a cornea is decompensating, it means you can say it's kind of rotting or like decompositing. My iris, or like the pupil, the black part of the eye, was decompensating. So it was destroying itself, and I was going to need a corneal transplant on this eye. And this eye was damaged as well because of the pressure. So he said to me, look, I'm gonna have to do surgery on both of your eyes, and we're gonna do one eye and then we're gonna band-aid it. We're gonna have to wait and see. I could do the surgery and it could work, or I could do the surgery and you could go blind. But we have to give it a try. You have to get the surgery, and we're gonna wait another 6 months and then do the other eye. When he told me you could go blind on one eye or on both eyes, even if we do the surgery, like, you have to understand, I was completely freaked out of my mind, completely freaked out. So when I found out that essentially I was going blind and then I could get the surgery and I might still go completely blind, I started praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. And even with the prayers, I had faith. Like, I was like I was scared, but I was like, I know God wouldn't do this to me. I draw, I'm an artist. I use my eyes for everything. Not that anybody who's blind or has been blind since they were young or something, not that anybody who's blind deserves to be blind, but I'm like, the God that I know and the God that I pray would never ever in his life do this to me. So I already pray every day, but when I found out that I was going blind, I was like, I need to pray more. 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 So I started praying every day. I'm like, Baba, please don't let me go blind. I cannot go blind. And he was like, okay, but let's do this. Before we start talking about corneal transplants and cutting your eyes open and putting you through surgery, I'm gonna prescribe 3 different types of drops that you're gonna have to be very regular with, and we're gonna see if it helps put the pressure down. But I'm telling you, at that time I was in a mental retreat, and everybody, when I tell you, they were just all like tiptoeing around me. They were also like compassionate towards me. They know I'm an artist. They know that drawing is my life. At that time, I was thinking about going to art school, all of that shit. They were all like, they felt bad for me. They felt really bad for me, and the prognostic was not good. They were also supportive. They just felt bad for me, and they were the ones that were putting the drops in my eyes from morning. I had drops in the morning, I had drops at noon, and I had drops in the evening. So they were doing that for me like clockwork, as they were prescribed. And so I did that for like 2 weeks. I think he gave me an appointment after 2 weeks. I put the drops regularly. For like 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, when I went to the doctor and saw him, I'm telling you, he was like, he would look at me like that. He was already like, okay. In his head, it was like, I'm going to come in. The pressure might drop a little bit, but it won't drop that much. So I saw him after 2 weeks, and he ran a bunch of tests. He made me do a bunch of eye tests. After I did the eye test, he was like, whoa. He looked at the paper. He was like, I have very, very good news. He himself did not think that the prognostic was just going to magically turn out good. Then he looked at me. He's like, the drops are working so well. Brenda, the drops are working so well. Your pressure has dropped completely. Not completely, but has dropped significantly. And I was like, whoa, really? He's like, yeah. I don't think we're going to have to do the surgery anymore. At least not right now. We don't have to think about this for another. You can push that back for like a couple years. We don't have to talk about surgery or corneal transplant at your young age. We don't even talk about you going blind right now anymore. You're out of trouble right now. And I was like, oh my God. Like in my head, I was just like, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. I started just thanking him from the bottom of my heart, like with all my heart. Man, when I tell you, like, God is real, and God shows up when you least expect him. He likes to make an entrance, and he just shows up when you don't expect him, like, at all. And he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, Brenda. I did not expect the prognostic to turn out so good, but like, we won't have, you still have glaucoma, obviously. We don't have to think about a transplant or opening your eyes or you going blind for like, we don't have to think about that anymore right now. You're out of the woodwork, you're good. And the nurse that I was with was like, we've been putting the drops like clockwork. We were all so worried about her. We're so happy. This is excellent news. And I was really happy too. And I was crying myself to sleep for days and days and days and like for so long. And when I tell you, just like, sometimes you're going through trouble, but like just keep praying and just ask God to like show up for you. And 2014, I was about to go blind, and now I don't even have to worry about it. If that's not a sign that God works in a mysterious way and that God never abandons his people, just hang in there if you're going through shit.